Tuesday night NXT, 14th of March 2023. We had soprano references, we had home attacks, we had titles, showdowns. We had a decent bit on this edition of WWE NXT, but was it any good? Well, only time will tell, Troops, because we kicked off the show with a tag title match. We had Gallus against Pretty Deadly. And it's weird because Pretty Deadly actually featured not only in this match, but they featured like later. I mean, I guess you could say it was a contract signing between Bron Breakker and Carmelo Hayes. But at the same time, again, Pretty Deadly. They seem like to be forcing these guys. But what are they going for? Like, it doesn't seem like it's woke, but it's not like forced woke. If that makes sense, it does feel like it feels like a really cheap version of Billy and Chuck. Pretty Deadly, but I mean, this match was alright. Gallus win, which I'm happy about. Pretty Deadly, I mean, they held the titles there for quite a long time, so I'm not really too bothered. But then winning, I think Gallus, Scotland, Scooby-Doo, brilliant, love to see it. And Scotland's got some world champions, NXT tag champs, oh hell yeah. We then cut backstage, we've got Tony D, Stacks, and what's the big man called? He's the champion of the fucking brand. It's Bron Breakker, basically saying that they're going to have to do some beatdowns, and then Bron Breakker's like Sopranos, like The Godfather. It's like, oh yeah, check out Fog Entertainment, Troops, for all your Sopranos and movie content. Might watch The Godfather. I knew it was you, Fredo. Bang, shite. So it'll be very interesting to see here. But then they're like, no, we're just going to throw him a beatdown and hit him with a crowbar, Bron Breakker thought they were going to shoot him, be sleeping with the fishies. But again, they're kind of like, no, we don't do that, Bron. But it's like, you threw the other guy off a bridge. Can't remember his name, but the other guy got excommunicated, fucked off a bridge, never to be seen again, which was kind of funny. We then have another, it was a women's championship qualifying match, so obviously it's not for the belt. We have Zoe Starks taking on Sol Ruka. Again, just kind of jobber match here. Personally, do not care for either of these women. Sol Ruka's entire gimmick is, well, my parents said you could be whatever you want to be, so man, I'm a surfer. Yeah. I mean, if I could be whatever I wanted to be, it would be a successful YouTuber, not a YouTuber who would refuse wrestling and it doesn't get too much money. That's why, that would be the dream, wouldn't it? That would truly be the dream. Of course, there is, the big opportunity here to win the title for Zoe Starks, and she did win. We then have a promo backstage via Joyce. She's arms in a sling. She's like, I'm going to beat you, Gigi Dawn. I don't know what it is, but I don't think she's all that attractive. Joyce, personally. Joycey Jane, that's her name, isn't it? I don't know if she's all that attractive. I think she looks very, her face looks just very plastic. It's like when you look at Carmella and Britt Baker, there's just something off about their face, and like Charlotte, it just looks like it looks like 50% plastic, in my opinion. But I digress. We then have Alba Fire, Isla Dawn defeating the teams of Caden Carter, Katana Chance, Ivy Nile, and Tatum Paxley here. I mean, it's kind of just a massive tag team match that was thrown together at a short notice, and it basically comes down to the team that's the Diamond Mine. They're in the Diamond Mine. I don't really know what they're going for. Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. It's like, yeah, way for Britain, Celtic Britain, Irish and Scottish Celtic connection, like Sheamus and Drew McIntyre Britain. Yeah, even though, guys, Ireland's no in the United Kingdom, alright? Don't get your wee geography confused, all you Yanks. I know if it's outside of fucking Texas or America, you are humped when it comes to geography, but you go, a wee history lesson, a wee geography lesson for big Stevie Cool. I was like Big Daddy Cool, but no, I'm no your daddy. I'm Stevie Cool. But so this was shite. I don't want to talk too much about it, if we're being honest. But then, segment of the night. We get segment of the night. So, segment of the night kicks off with Johnny Gargano in the ring cutting a promo. You're probably asking, well, how's that even possible, Stevie? Well, I don't know how it's possible, because he's just cut the same piss. He's like, you don't Like he's like, you don't interfere in a man's home. You don't go to a man's house. And he's like, this is my home. I performed in front of you guys for years here in NXT. It doesn't matter what brand I'm on. NXT will always be on my home. And then I believe the commentator gets up, shows Johnny Gargano an Instagram live. Turns out the Instagram live is Grayson Waller at Johnny Gargano's house, right? And then Johnny Gargano leaves, and then we get like, I thought it was actually a pretty decent fight scene. You know, they start brawling, they start using the wheelie bins. It looks like Johnny Gargano's getting the upper hand, but then Grayson Waller bars him. Out comes Candice LeRae with the baby, and Grayson Waller fucking grabs Johnny Gargano. He's like, look, kid, look at your daddy. He's pathetic. He's in a fucking sorry excuse here, man. And I was like, that was good. That was actually good. It was almost something I would describe as cool. This like he actually battered this guy in front of his fucking infant child. You know what? I'll give wrestling props, and it does something good, I'll give it something good. But I'm to bury it. Like I get it, Johnny Gargano, like probably. But how close is his house to the NXT arena? Because he was literally in the ring, right? Then it cuts to him arriving at his house. And I get it, right? It's a 2-hour show, so let's say when he left, you know, it was only half an hour in, and this segment's like an hour later. So yeah, maybe he could get to his house in an hour, but I don't know. Things like that, it's like, what's going on here? It's not like earlier today, you know, it was literally, here mate, I need to go because he's at my house. So anyway, I digress. We then have Dabo Keita against Apollo Crews. Apollo Crews tried to do everything here to win. Of course, this is Commander Assis, isn't it? It is Dabo Keita. Dabo Keita. But yeah, he just got barred. Apollo Crews was actually kicking out a decent bunch of stuff, but eventually Dabba-Kato wins, and this guy, I'm not really a fan of this guy, so I don't really understand why this guy's going over Paul Crews. Paul Crews feuding with Grayson Waller, fishing with he was fishing with Bron Breakker. He was in diners cutting good promos, and here he is getting jobbed out to this guy. Not a fan, troops. Not a fan of this. We then, in our main event of the evening, we have Gigi Dolan defeating Kiana James in the NXT Women's Championship qualifying match. So, of course, you know, at the pay-per-view it is going to be the ladder match for the belt. I'm not really surprised Gigi Dolan wins. She beat Jane at that roadblock shite. So again, I didn't expect her the job, but I think she is going to be pushed as one of the more, you know, main event women on NXT. Henley and James are backstage saying, yeah, we're ready to defend our titles. Of course, Alba Fire and Dom won that match, of course. But the show itself, I mean, we are heading towards our ending segment. Well, this is the order I watched. I mean, I believe we also had, I mean, there is like a few segments throughout the show, but there's not really much worthy I mention, really. I mean, Duke Hudson's getting more frustrated with Chase U, but he buried them last week. That's what I don't get. Like, how does he go from burying them, saying like, you've all loser mentalities, right? To then like he's back wearing them. He's prepping the fest. What do you call that? The wife beater. What do you call it? Fest? That is a fest, isn't it? Aye. So he's wearing a fest, right? And then like the Rock's daughter comes in and puts a mask down. Exactly on the count. Does that mean anything? Who knows? But yeah, it's announced that Wesley's going to be defending his title in a fatal 5-way. Whoop-de-doo. Who cares? Not really me. And then also Aja Dragunov and JD Madonna come blow to blow. But yeah, again, we don't really care too much about that. But it is our ending segment, troops. We have Bron Breakker and Johnny Hayes. Johnny Hayes? Fuck, not the guy who plays for Aberdeen. Carmelo Hayes. Jesus, man. Johnny Hayes. Man, that shows you how much YouTube I done that fries your fucking skull. But yeah, NXT Championship match on the line. They signed the contracts. Pretty Deadly are hosting it, which, I mean, they just lost the titles in the opener, and here they are it again. We are basically just kissing each other's ass. It's a very weird feud, and it was kind of similar with Bron Breakker and Paul Crews, like just putting each other over. I mean, at least with those two were out fishing, like, so it was even a bit more weirder. But here they're just kissing each other. Oh man, this is a dream match. 18 months. Bron Breakker's like, yeah, I know you got what it takes, man, but you gotta do it in this ring. I have to see it in front of my very eyes. And then Pretty Deadly's like, no, you can't just sign the contracts without any drama. You have to get serious. So these two rip their tops off, spine busters through the contract signing table to Pretty Deadly as the show goes off the air. So yeah, a couple of really good segments. The matches weren't exactly great, but you know what? The Gargano and Grayson War segment was good, and also the whole Sopranos getting mentioned by Bron. I mean, that whole segment was pretty good. I enjoyed that. But anyway, I want you to leave your thoughts down below. I'm going to give this show I'm a gain out of 10. I'll give it a 3 out of 10. It beats Raw because had a couple of decent things on it, but again, modern wrestling troops just sucks.